sorry.
It's fine. I knew you probably. I thought you were busy.
Morning, I'd like to call this DPW Parks and Rec Solid Waste Committee to order. And I ask for approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll make that motion for approval.
Moved by Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Garrity. All the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Good, what do you want to start with?
Let's start with Parks and Rec.
Okay. Parks and Rec, let's see, privilege of the floor and public comment for Parks and Rec.
Oh, no,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can I just do my comment for privilege and floor now, if you don't mind?
That's where we're at.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The supervisor from Johnsburg wasn't able to be here this morning, but yesterday she and I spoke briefly about Rev Rail and just had asked that I make a couple of comments just regarding the ridership numbers, but recognizing that all of their efforts have been without any contribution from occupancy tax, that in fact, during 2022 in North Creek, the rider numbers between North Creek, the South and North, Thurman and Lake Luzerne all totaled around 46,000, that there's 7 rafting companies up in North Creek that also average around 20,000 visitors a year, Gore around 215,000. The point that the supervisor wanted to share, and I wholeheartedly agree, is that there's been no funding through occupancy tax to any of these entities. And, she just wanted again to make sure that they were not only commended for their hard work, but also recognizing that there's a huge amount of tourism that we're able to generate in Warren County without the assistance of occupancy tax, and hopes that, if there should become a need, that they apply, and if not, that they continue the hard work that they're doing in their contribution to the county. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the action agenda. And looks like contracts with snowmobile clubs.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman. The first 4 that are on our action agenda are our Warren County snowmobile clubs themselves. There's no change in president's fees. The only thing that has changed is the contract date. But the first is to renew the contract with the South Warren Snowmobile Club for maintenance of the snowmobile trail. It's the same amount as $27,000, and the contract date was changed from 1/1/23 to 12/31/23.
Okay, would the committee like to do?
I would do all 4.
1 through 4, moved by Chairman Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Merlino. Discussion about the 4 contracts.
Amounts stayed the same.
Yeah.
7/9/27.
Supervisor Strauss.
This is no, thank you. Has the snowmobile people got their financial things in order now? Yeah.
Mr. Hagan?
So, yes, they have, when we changed the contracts or renewed the contracts last year, we kind of put in a policy in place of what they need to provide the county for their backup documentation. We've gone through it with our county auditor, and they are all on board with what they need to provide us so they can get refunded the money.
Okay, thanks. Any other discussion? Call the question on 1 through 4, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Dean, number 5.
Number 5 is a simple agreement for right of way, no financial exchange of money. Charles Everson is still in contact with Saratoga, and they're looking for agreement for use of the right of way between mile markers 55.89 and mile marker 58.65.
I'll introduce that.
Moved by Supervisor Chairman Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Strauss. Any discussion on this item?
You have all the insurance certificates and everything you need for all this. This is near Greenfield or
Just, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I just,
Go ahead.
It is, and this is similar to the same agreement we had, just so they can cross the railroads too, that they can tie into the Warren County trail system.
okay.
Okay, anything else? I'll call the question on number 5, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carried. Number 6.
Okay, number 6 is a request for the transfer of funds for the donation revenue to supplies. This last year, Jeff and Lee came in and explained to you, we had a donation from the BOS family. This is just maybe we missed $25. I'm not sure on the numbers for what got transferred. So this is to move that $25 from donations into supplies so that can be spent for the last of that memorial.
Okay, someone care to make that motion? Supervisor Strahl, seconded by Chairman Garrity. Any questions? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 7 is the tenth fill a vacant position.
So this is our hatchery aide, who we were good enough to steal somebody from Soil and Water, so they returned the favor and they were good enough to steal somebody from us. So with that being said, this is the notice of intent to fill our hatchery aide position, and you will see the job description attached on the following page after the notice of intent to fill. And discussions with Trish Nettinger in civil services, we have had a lot of interest in the position, which is a good thing. And we've already received probably 4 or 5 applications.
Someone here to bring this forward? Supervisor Strahl, Chairman Garrity. Any questions or discussion? I'll call the question on number 7. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 8.
Number 8 is a transfer of funds, and this transfer of funds is to cover overtime cost for the remainder of the year, as well as electrical for the railroad budget. Currently, there just is not enough in there to cover the electricity, and that's mainly in Reparius, because we keep that building somewhat heated over the winter months. So this would cover the cost of that, as well as any overtime that may occur. What doesn't occur, just it's left in the budget.
Yeah, this comes out of the county railroad reserve.
This is coming out of this is coming from Parks and Rec, regular salaries or part-time salaries to Parks and Rec overtime. So it's coming out from one salaries to the other. And then the other one is coming out of Parks and Rec repair and maintenance of buildings to railroad electricity.
Someone care to move that? Supervisor Strahl, seconded by Chairman Garrity. Question. Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That's number 9.
This is 9.
Yes, so that would be 9. So number 9 is that I handed out here this morning. My fiscal manager was doing a cleanup on some of the budget items, and one of the last things that she noticed is that we did some work, the DPW staff did some work at the railroad, so it needs to be charged back to the railroad. So this is to fund railroad contracts, 7113470 with reserve money for county to pay the cost of the DPW work that was done at the Hadley train station for some paving work in the doorway area. We were having an issue in the pavement in the doorway on that building.
Moved by Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Merlino. Any questions on this transfer? Well, this is the railroad reserve.
Yes, that was reserve. Yep.
Call the question on number 9. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Okay, for your information, for review and discussion, a quick update on our hatchery. Hatchery is an excellent resource we've inherited. In my new title and position. Everything's running great. Mr. Ingley does a fantastic job. The staff, unfortunately, which has just shrank, is, I don't know if anyone else, there you go. Sorry, thank you. Is doing very well. Our stocking, as you can see, has been great these last 4 years. The health of the fish has been very good. DEC has been there recently, just fin clipping. They're very pleased with the program. It's in a great standard. 65,400 stock this last year. And currently have eggs on hand. We're currently cleaning them, picking them, making sure the world is good. And we also did this year, we're going into the next season. We have 1 class on board from Salem Central School. Couple classroom. But if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
You work with DEC and Lake George on some of the stocking too, or?
We do,
Right.
and with regard to some of the salmon that we
Yeah,
have
the
raised for them
salmon,
as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in years past, we've also worked together on egg supplies
Yeah.
and things when things come up with hatcheries, so.
Very good.
Very good. Trunk or treat.
Short retreat,
Dean.
I want to go back to the
Sorry.
fish hatchery.
I apologize.
Sure.
For years, I've been told that we can't put fish in Lake Lenore because there's no private, access to that lake. Town does own a piece of property there now. And I'd like to, maybe request some, doing some fish in there, and I'll show you where the property is, right available, get right to the lake. I know they couldn't do it before for many years because there's no public access. Town of Lake Luzerne known for public access, which the snowmobile club is accessing to the lake. And we're working with the owner of the property around it to maybe lease it to him to use as a beach also. But we're working on it.
Good. Anything else for? Fish?
Yeah,
Trunk or treat.
yes, sir. Yeah, you mentioned earlier, unbelievable. We actually had over 800 people, which doubled last year's turnout for that draw. It's fantastic. We did not run out of candy either, I was told. So, yeah, it was a tremendous event. As a matter of fact, that quantity of individuals, probably making sure that, we're square with how we're established on the grounds. It's grown tremendously. It's gone from roughly 200 to 400 in this.
Right.
800 this season.
Yes. Mr. Higgins.
We did have a little bit of traffic issues because 800 vehicles on up beyond is a significant amount of cars. So next year we will be looking into possibly using Rogers Park or something, maybe to bus people up. And it may make it a little bit easier up there, but yes, it's a phenomenal event. And as Dean said, doubled from last year. So they're doing a great job up there.
Very good. Okay, and the last item is Revolution Rail.
So the last item we have on here is for Revolution Rail. As always, they need to provide us their ridership numbers, and Supervisor Seaver actually just talked to them, but I kind of will go through them again. Their rider count on Warren County tracks, North Creek was 11,905, Thurman was 6,140, and Hadley was 12,802. And then on their Sanford Lake branch line, it was 16,073. Now, remember, it may not be a Warren County line, but they do come to the ticket office in North Creek. So they're still coming through Warren County, for a total of 46,920 riders. I didn't necessarily bring it today. We certainly can, discussing their contract going forward for next year, but it was part of their contract is to for the superintendent of public works and or the director of parks and rec to determine if there has been any issues. There has been no issues whatsoever with RevRail. As Supervisor Seaver said, they have done just an absolute phenomenal job, or Supervisor Hogan had said. They're a great partner with the county. And I believe, and if the chairman will allow, we have representatives from RevRail here, and I think they would like to come up and give a discussion.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and thanks for letting us come in for a minute. I wanted to introduce Molly McCarthy she's the site manager up in North Creek, and she's also our community liaison. So I thought it just might be nice for you guys, since this is our time of year, just to come in and give you our, status update on ridership and everything, just to let you know some things about the employment that we're providing and just some donations and things like that. So if you want to give a little bit of that, and this is Molly.
Sure. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you all. So as Rob was saying, we had an awesome year. We were able to provide 65 part-time and full-time positions through our 2022 season, including 7 year-round full-time positions. We were also able to make contributions to 35 nonprofits and organizations in the area, including North Creek Farmers Market, the North Creek Training Depot, Museum, the Hadley Luzerne Fall Festival, the Warrensburg Smoke Eater Jamboree, and the Adirondack Community Outreach Center, and many more. We were also able to host many different groups for rail bike trips, including local schools and camp groups, which was very exciting and always very fun. We're also able to offer more trips than ever before with the 4 different sites and trips we offered. And our goal is to continue to support Warren County in all corners of its communities, not only in the seasons that we're open, but all year round. So it's great to meet you all.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions or anything about Russian? Yeah.
Were you satisfied with the Thurman starting the,
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of potential there.
yeah, we love it. If there's a way to get that caboose going too, I think that would be a nice small business for
Right.
somebody to come in
That
and,
would be nice. to get
yeah,
that.
so I'm happy to work with anyone on that. And what's been a nice thing too is partnering with the Thousand Acres Ranch. They have a new management team in there, and so they've been great to work with. So,
Good.
yeah, everything, we've been really happy with everything. And
That's the first time, and.
Yeah.
Over 6,000, I would think you gotta
yeah,
help promote that.
we'll take it. Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Hager.
So one of the things I would discuss with the caboose, we had the caboose out for an RFP a couple years ago, and I don't think we had any takers on it. We could certainly try to put the caboose out for an RFP again, because I believe when Saratoga North Creek was there, they set it up to be kind of a very tiny, I guess, restaurant stand.
Mhm.
And I think it's set up for that now. I think everything's connected to it. So we could definitely, if the committee would like, we could definitely probably put an RFP together for somebody to run that caboose, see if we get any takes on it.
Well, with that 6,000 people going through there, probably would produce some revenue for somebody.
Yeah, we should do that.
Okay.
Where's the Sanford branch?
That's north of,
North of North Creek.
North of North Creek.
North Creek.
Yep, that's the
Sanford
Sanford
Lake.
Lake line.
Okay, so it was 11,000, I thought it was 11,000. Oh, North Creek going down to Riparius.
No,
Not the other way.
going north.
16 was north, yeah.
But as far as numbers.
Oh, yes, that's heading south.
Okay,
Yep.
so, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Merlino.
And I'd just like to thank Rob for all the work he's done. We've worked really hard together for a lot of years. He's very cooperative. It's easy to work with him. He's done a lot for Hadley Luzerne Station. He takes care of a lot of the people around there, and we're really proud to have him down there. And now hope we could beat that number in next year.
All right. Thank you for all your help, Gene, really. So yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
So you want to bring
If the pleasure of the committee would like, we could renew their contract today. I don't have the resolution part of the packet, but I can certainly work with Amanda to get it set up. And that we could renew their contract today for next year.
I'm fine with it.
up to the committee?
Missed it. What's that?
Wasn't paying attention. was I?
I would.
We didn't have the resolution in here, but based on their ridership and based on, we don't have any issues with what they've been doing. We could definitely renew their contract now. I believe for next year it would be for $40,000. And it would be, I think, another $6,000 because it's $500 a month for the use of the 2 rail stations, which would be Hadley and Thurman. So that would be a total of $46,000 from them for next year.
I think that, get him and have a motion.
Yep, introduced by Supervisor Molino, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any discussion?
Just one other thing.
Yes.
I should have mentioned when he was here, the Hadley VFW has that trunk or treat there. And he donated a bicycle for a raffle for anybody, any of the kids that came, got a raffle ticket. I don't know who won it, but he does help out a lot in the community.
Good.
He didn't, I was surprised he didn't mention it, but he did. I did.
Because they're right next door to each other there, to the station and the VFW, aren't they?
Yeah, right next door.
How many years extension?
It's just they're 1 year at a
One, but
time.
where are we?
They have till 1 more year left on it.
Thank you. Good.
Any other discussion on renewing the contract for 2023? I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anything else for us today?
For Parks and Rec.
Privilege of the floor and public comment.
Just want to bring it up. Yesterday, there was observed that up yonder farm didn't have any mention on their website about being associated with the county. So I had reached out to the director there.
You know, so I'll have an update. So I actually watched the video from yesterday.
Yeah.
That there was Gmails on the website. There are no Gmails on the website. They're Warren County email addresses. The Gmail is on the Facebook page, and that is for information purposes for us to track how many hits we get off the Facebook page. But the website itself has all email pages, and as far as having references or links back to Warren County or the logo, Lisa Grant from Tourism sent me the logos yesterday afternoon. So we will get them on maybe even today.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I just spoke with Kristen as well. Kristen actually is ready, we haven't talked about it yet, but she is ready to repropose a website and amendments and changes come January. Inclusive of all of that, and she has been here a short time as well. We're familiar with trying to get representation on the paper for other funding. So yes,
And that's Kristen, Director of.
Kristen Wild, Director of that. Thanks. You bet. Thank you.
Anything else? Which would you like to do next?
Why don't we do solid waste?
Solid waste, okay.
So the first item we have under action and request items is a transfer of funds, and this is just to cover the extra cost associated with the household hazardous waste. And the only reason we have extra cost because we have more people. And 50% of this is reimbursed by New York State DEC because it's a 50-50 grant match.
Moved by Chairman Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any questions on this transfer? Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next item we have on there is a new contract, and this is to enter into a new contract based on the Warren County bid 71-22 for electronics recycling services. And I see Julie here, so that's great. One of the things that was determined during there's new guidelines and new regulations in place that electronics recycling manufacturers cannot charge the towns for electronics recycling. And in turn, the towns cannot charge for electronics recycling. So you'll see a bid sheet here that basically says if the towns were to charge, then they're going to charge you. Towns don't charge, then they're not going to charge, although they will charge for the fluorescent lamps and mixed batteries. That's different than the electronics. They should be covered by the manufacturer when they pick up this. So when they pick up, they get paid by the manufacturer for the electronics they picked up. So I know there are towns, I don't know that you guys do it. I believe Warrensburg does.
We charge for electronic recycling. And we pay
So no, wait,
for electronic
So
recycling.
the new bid you have, you're not paying.
As long as you stop charging.
As long as you stop charging.
Right.
You won't pay.
TVs, computers.
What's that a big thing because.
That doesn't cover handling. I mean, in theory, we could just stop collecting.
That's what's gonna be.
Would you reduce your staff?
Well,
You
currently,
didn't have electronics recycling?
no. Because it's not a full-time staff position. It's a minimal thing, but it is extra service and we have to have a place to put it.
yeah,
It has to be undercover. We have certain parameters we have to live by. So not charging wouldn't cover any of those costs. So in theory, we just stop doing it and that'll raise a little pain itself.
They just.
It will, but again, you can still charge, but then the vendor is going to charge you. Just like he has been doing. But if you don't charge, then the only thing he's gonna charge you for is for fluorescent lamps and batteries. If you don't charge for it, but that's what came down based on the new regulations from DEC for this year.
But
Mr. Stowe.
if we don't charge, that means anybody and everybody and everywhere can come in and drop this, because we're very conveniently located in the population centers. And the no charge may create an extra burden on us.
There you go.
I guess I'm not familiar with it, so, because I'm a resident of Queensbury, when I go to the dump, I have to show them I'm a resident of Queensbury. They don't just take my word for it that I'm a resident of Queensbury.
No, we do not.
I've been asked many times before, John. So that's, I guess that's, but again, you're right that you could get more to use the facilities if they're doing electronics recycling. And what I'm saying is you don't have to change. But if you don't change, then the manufacturer, or the vendor is still gonna charge you for electronics recycling.
Chairman Garrity.
We had an AATV meeting last Wednesday in my town hall. And talking to the surrounding counties, they didn't even know, when I explained to them, you're not supposed to charge anymore, they weren't aware of it. But I would agree with Supervisor Stroud. You still have to have a facility for them to put this, and I don't know who packages them, the cartons, do the E-Lot does? You know. We charge, and so we can pay for it, and it's worked well for us, but if we stop charging, who's gonna make sure that E-Lot gets there in a timely fashion like that? I mean, I don't mind doing it as long as I know what's up, but.
There you go.
And I'm gonna probably defer to Julie a little bit on this, but how often do they come to your facilities?
I don't know, I think when we call, right?
Yeah, you can set them up on an automatic schedule if you'd like to, but usually it's within so many 24, 48 hours of a post.
Supervisor Merlino.
Well, you know, and I don't know if I got a cheap town, but in my town, we wind up picking up a dozen and a half TVs along the side of the roads. Because people just don't wanna pay. So, you know, I think this is a great idea, and I just have, if we can control it, and just take it in for nothing, let them go in for nothing, it'll save us a little problem. I don't know if the rest of the towns have a problem, but we got a lot of wooded area and back roads, and we wind up with more tires there and TVs. Because people don't wanna go to the landfill and pay.
Needs to be covered. Needs to be covered. You have to.
Yeah, we have a.
Well, I mean. Cause I didn't know how it was gonna work. They couldn't explain it, so we can let it come in. And they did, but they're still gonna charge us for their fluorescent lights.
Yeah, because those aren't considered electronics. It's just like the electronics and the peripherals and, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Seems to be working
Yeah,
out
thank you,
for us.
Mr. Chairman. It seems to be when we submit our DEC electronics report, they ask on that report, do you not charge on any of these items? Town of Chester charges for TVs, but not for the rest, because TVs take up a lot of space, take extra people to handle all of those things. So we put that down on the report. So, as it is, because I think it had and I'll look over at Purchasing Director Butler there, it would have an effect on what our contractor would be able to get reimbursed for. If we charge, then they don't get a reimbursement for what they pick up, and that's the difference in the price on things. And I'll tell you, if there's going to be only charges for fluorescent lamps and mixed batteries, we're going to make out good and not charge anything to anybody, because it's already included. It's part of our overhead. People bring it in, we put it into the covered container, and E-Lot has been great to work with.
When does it start?
January.
Frank, can I ask a question? Really do. What's Eli lot think? Will they recover enough funds just to get paid by the manufacturer? Or is it gonna, are we gonna run into problems because they don't get paid on a timely?
No, the onus is completely on ELOT with this. And they have to submit their costs to the manufacturer. It's up to the manufacturer to pay them.
But
So.
right now, they just bill us and we pay them. You know, they know they're gonna get the money from town, I assume they. I just wonder if this won't cause a problem where they go out of the recycling business altogether, Eli.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not concerned about that. And just so you know, I did a little bit of a report just for my own information on what your savings would be if you are currently charging
Yeah.
and you stop charging. I mean, the bigger towns or the towns with the most recyclables like Chestertown, like a $1,500 savings. Warrensburg, you're under 500. Queensbury was almost 5,000 that you would save on the recyclables. So it kind of varies, but depending on how much it's left, but it would be a savings. Other than your staff, I mean, and what the time they spend on.
Can't cut my staff,
Yeah.
cut them in half.
That's the big joke.
That's
The one thing I was gonna add too is to go back what Julie was talking about, the manufacturer. Manufacturer is supposed to reimburse them for all their costs, not just the electronic, any hauling too.
Correct.
And they have to
Okay.
submit for all.
They
that.
may want to do
Because
it.
that was a question I had for ELOT was how do you recoup your transportation costs? And the clarifying email that DDC sent with regard to the new regulations said right in there. Transportation costs are included in what the manufacturer has to reimburse them for.
Okay. Thank you.
Did we get this on the floor? No. So do we have a motion to renew this contract with ELOT? Moved by Chairman Garrity. Seconded by Supervisor Molina. Any other questions or discussion of electronics? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carried. Discussion items, organics management plan.
Turn that over to Thomas.
Yeah, so we're currently looking at meeting with GHD, the selected consultant, next week on Tuesday. And we're just gonna kind of go over the schedule and exactly the scope of that.
Yes, Mr. Hager.
This will include just myself right now and Thomas to kind of negotiate work and cost with them, even though they submitted it, it was a proposal. But we're now gonna narrow it down as to specifically what they're doing. Then from that, we will include the group that was discussed about at the last committee meeting, which included representatives on this committee, as well as some of the representatives from some of the towns. Yep.
Anything else on that?
Not on that, but we do have one more referral item that actually should have been put to this committee, but somehow or another wound up on county facilities. There was a referral from ARPA back to DPW Solid Waste Committee regarding the ARPA funding application for, I believe it was $1.4 million for the recycling facility. I do see Diane Collins here. It was referred back and I asked Ethan Gaddy from planning, what specifically was the ARPA committee looking for? He wrote me back in an email saying that the ARPA committee wants the DPW committee to vet the proposed plan facility and indicate to ARPA committee whether or not it seems like a feasible project that fits into Warren County's overall solid waste strategy. So with that being said, the cost that we had provided as part of the ARPA application had nothing to do with, projected future and what the recyclable market is going to be. It was strictly based on startup cost, startup with equipment, building, what else do we have in there, Thomas? And you can,
Baler, skid steer, roll-off trucks.
I mean, that's bottom line what that startup cost was. Thomas and I have been watching the recyclable markets. Cardboard has come down. Paper has come down. I think we're actually, what is it, a negative on the paper now?
Yeah.
It's a negative maybe of $1 on paper recycling now. I believe cardboard is out at $50 a ton.
Yeah, 50 to 40.
Yeah.
And then plastics have gone up a little bit. Kind of due to demand of recycled content in plastic.
So the numbers that we had presented to ARPA, again, was just for startup cost. This was part of the local solid waste management plan, is to look into recycling in the county and how we can, I guess, do better, make better. We've also been working with Zero Waste. And they've assisted us with some of the numbers as well, as far as where the markets are running. I'm not sure what more we can kind of vet in this committee to refer to ARPA. I'm not sure if Chairman will allow Diane, if you have anything to kind of add on to this.
Sure. Diane?
I just have a statement for the public record.
Diane, could you stand up on the podium?
Okay.
Can we do it for plastic if we do it for television? The manufacturer takes responsibility. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm Diane Collins. I'm part of Zero Waste Warren County. We're a group of citizens, and one of our projects has been working with the county on solid waste solutions, and I appreciate the opportunity to read this statement into the public record. At the last ARPA Advisory Committee meeting, it was agreed that the request by Warren County Department of Public Works for the creation of a central recycling facility be referred to the Facilities Committee, and Kevin's taken care of that. It seemed like at that point ARPA funds would not be given. Now it's a probability, perhaps, I don't know, it's not clear. To remind you, the purpose of the Public Works ARPA application for funds was as follows. Many of the town transfer stations were built in the 1990s when New York State ordered landfills within Adirondack Park closed. The towns mandated to collect recyclables established a system to send recyclables to other facilities for further processing. This system has been costly to the towns, as tipping fees charged by these facilities, as well as hauling costs, have increased. ARPA funds for a central recycling facility and equipment would open the door for modernization of town transfer stations by taking advantage of the growing recycling industry. Selling recyclables directly to these growing markets would dynamically change our current system from costing the towns to perhaps increasing revenues for years to come. Volunteer citizens in Zero Waste Warren County have partnered with Public Works in promoting the value of this project. We are greatly disappointed by the vote of the ARPA Advisory Committee to pass over the application for modernizing and centralizing recycling. We feel the decision is short-sighted and failed to take the opportunity to forge a new path for waste and recycling in Warren County. However, we remain steadfast in our commitment to work with Public Works and the supervisors on the Public Works Committee. We hope to reconvene the project work group soon to discuss other options for financing this worthwhile project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to add on, again, this was part of the local solid waste management plan to kind of look at us to just refine the solid waste and recycling in Warren County. And one of the things that we also brought up the last committee meeting was that if the county were to take on the hauling, it would save the counties, we presented it, we would save the counties a significant amount of money as well. So this is all towards saving the environment as well as saving the cost to the towns in Warren County. So we're working in that direction. But again, I'm not sure how much more that we can vet this, because I think it was to vet it in this facility and then send it back to ARPA to see if there was any funding available. I'm not sure there's and I don't know how much money is left in the ARPA funding. I'm not sure if they can fund a portion of it and then we can look for other funding sources. But I believe here, I don't want to speak for the supervisors, but I believe it should now go back to ARPA to see what they'd be willing to fund.
Yes, Supervisor Straw.
Well, in my opinion, and I believe it's shared by many, that this kind of expenditure for ARPA is the ideal thing to do. I mean, what you're doing is creating a facility that's good for the environment. It's the appropriate use for ARPA money. It reduces the burden on the local taxpayers by using the ARPA money to achieve this. So it seems to me to be a no-brainer. But that's just me.
Chairman Garrity.
Yeah, I don't wanna go in the weeds too much, but did they have an idea where they wanted to put this facility?
We did. It was at the Lake George transfer station, because they probably have the most room on their
Their
site.
grounds.
Yes, on their grounds. to be-
So the county would pick up whatever we collected our facilities like we do now, and you would just take it down there for.
Recycling.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then
I
we
mean,
would bail it there. The size of the building that we were discussing, we would be able to hold material until we get, and we've been working with Diana on that certain.
So you
vendors,
put the bailers
manufacturers
and all
to
that.
Pick
there.
up material. Yep.
Good move.
Supervisor Molino.
I'll just second what John said.
Okay.
Should be some money left because some of the things not got funded, so.
So the committee wants to refer it back to the ARPA committee.
Yeah. No, to follow up on that, if there is partial funding, I wonder if there's any grants available through DEC for this?
We've been looking at those.
What kind of grants are they? If I may ask.
DEC has like a yearly recycling grant.
Okay.
That comes out in the fall, I believe. And as well, the Zero Waste Group, Tracy Frisch has been keeping me informed that there's some federal funding that's gonna be coming out as well.
Okay. Good to have that stakeholders involved.
Do we need a motion to refer it back or? Okay, someone want to make a motion to refer it back? Yes, Supervisor Stroud. Seconded by Supervisor Molino. I'll call the question. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay. Anything else for solid waste? Privilege of the floor, public comment.
And thank you.
Guess we move on to the DPW
Thanks,
agenda.
Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Diane.
You all.
Ready?
Go.
It's a full agenda. The first one is a notice of intent to fill the position of a medium due to a resignation.
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
Moved by Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Molino. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Number two.
The next two, the creation of the temporary naturalist position and the creation of the building maintenance mechanic for the airport. We're part of the budget process and we just have to bring the notice of intent to fill both those positions.
Moved by Supervisor Strauss. We have
This is for 3 and 4?
or 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
2 and 3, all right. Yes.
Seconded by Supervisor Molino. Any questions, discussion? I'll call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4.
Next item is a new contract, and this is a term agreement contract for the routine pumping and cleaning and disposal for septic systems within Warren County and with Stone Industries, and the tab sheet is attached.
Moved by Chairman Garrity. Seconded by Supervisor Strauss. Any questions on the contract? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carried. Number 5.
Number 5 is a request for a new contract, and this is related to crane services on an as-needed basis for the year 2023.
Moved by Chairman Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Molino. Any questions? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carried. Number 6.
Number 6 is a request for a new contract, and this is for electrical services. And again, this is a term agreement. It's a 1-year contract with the possibility of two 1-year extensions, and it's with Our Electric.
Moved by Chairman Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. I'll call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Number 7.
Number 7 is a request to transfer funds, and this is to cover the oil and heat associated with road machinery shop. Because based on costs this year, we were short on funding in those.
I'll move it.
16,500.
That is correct.
Okay, moved by
6,000.
Supervisor Molino. Seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any questions? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Number 8.
Number 8 is associated with number 7 to the extent that I have to amend the county budget to amend the road machinery budget for the transfer from transfers to capital projects, which is the $6,500 portion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Supervisor Molino, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any questions on that? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 9, I believe.
Number 9 is a miscellaneous resolution to return the unexpended funds back to the fund source. And this is to return unexpended funds of 22,100. As you all recall, with the Motor property we were doing the asbestos abatement and demolition in Johnsburg. I had requested, just in case there was any unforeseen conditions, to have extra money in there. This is to move the money back to the reserve environmental testing fund.
Moved by Chairman Garrity, seconded by
second.
Supervisor Molino. Any questions? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 10.
Number 10 is a miscellaneous resolution to amend the 2022 road machinery budget for auto supplies for the remainder of the year. This would come from the unappropriated surplus. We had asked budgeted last year, I believe, for 400,000. I believe we received 350,000. I'm not sure that we'll use all the 40,000, but it's just to make sure that we cover the cost of parts and supplies for the remainder of the year. And again, most of you know, because you have equipment yourselves, equipment is not cheap and replacement parts are not cheap. So this will help us for the end of the year, till the end of the year.
For 40,000.
40,000.
Yep.
Yep.
Moved by Chairman Garrity,
Second.
seconded by Supervisor Stroud. This is out of the DM surplus, right?
This is out of the, yes, DM surplus. Yep.
Any questions or discussion? I'll call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 11.
Number 11 is a request for a new contract, and this is for the construction contract for Dippy Kill Road over Glen Creek and Glen Creek Road over Glen Creek Bridge replacements at the town of Johnsburg, and ING Civil was the winning proposer or bidder, and the tab sheet is attached.
Moved by Chairman Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Stroud.
Had a lot of bidders.
Yeah.
A fair amount.
Any questions? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 12.
Number 12 is a request to apply for a grant. This is to authorize a new master state local agreement with Halfway Creek Bridge Replacement H386. This had changed with funding with the DOT to the fact that we had originally had a PIN number and D number for this project through the federal aid program. We did, since this was under Bridge New York, we did request for other funding. And DOT had requested a new state and local agreement because they wanted to put this funding, the construction funding, under another federal aid project. So this is just to kind of clean that up. The project's already done, completed and constructed, but this is just to have a new state local agreement with the funding that they wanted to put it, with the new funding and D number that they applied to us.
Yes, it's right here. There you go.
Someone care to move, number?
I'll do it.
I'll second it.
Moved by Chairman Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Merlino. Any questions? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Number 13.
Number 13 is a request to increase capital project H384, which is Finkelbrook Bridge, which was in the town of Bolton. This is to cover additional work, including the water line associated with the town. And as you all recall, last month I brought the MOU with the town to reimburse the county for the contractor's cost for that water line.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Supervisor Stroud, seconded by Supervisor Merlino. Any questions on that item?
Is that
Chairman Garrity.
156 is the water line?
That's the total. That's not all water line.
Okay.
There's the non-participating share, which you'll see underneath on that sheet, due from other governments is the 101,000.
I got you. Okay, that's fine. That's sound good.
Anything else? I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Number 14.
14 is to increase the capital project, and this is to allocate additional construction phase funding under the New York State Office of the State Comptroller as well as DOT. And that's for $10,821.
Moved by Supervisor Chairman Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Questions on number 14? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 15.
Number 15 is a miscellaneous resolution. It's basically to amend resolution 521 of 2022. There were budget amendments that we had taken through committee, but they were already done through transfers. So the budget amendments that were put on 521 of 2022, which also had many other departments on there. It's just to remove the Department of Public Works appropriations and estimated revenue on that. Because it was already done under a previous committee.
Moved by Supervisor Stroud, seconded by Supervisor Merlino to amend resolution 295 of 2022. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 17.
16, right? 16 is a miscellaneous resolution. This is to rescind resolution 295 of 2022. Based on, this goes back to the original, or the previous resolution for the bridge, made by DOT and New York State Office of State Comptrollers.
Moved by Chairman Garrity,
Second.
seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any discussion or questions on number 16? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 17.
17 is a request to amend existing grant, and this is basically to add construction funding for the East River Drive and Call Street pavement preservation projects. I don't normally say it every time I do these, but I add on is these are the 80, 50, and 5 funding. So there is always a local match, and we can cover it through our own budgets, but this is to add the additional cost on there.
And
Yeah.
that additional cost is total cost, or we
That's
upfront, and
total.
our share is the portion of that.
That's correct.
Moved by Supervisor Merlino. Seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any questions or discussion? Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And, number 18.
And 18, I probably could have done these together with 17, but this is to increase the capital project for those additional costs.
Okay. Moved by Supervisor Leo, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. I'll call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion, road projects.
Discussion items for road projects. So we have completed for this year, all the road projects. The last ones we had just completed were the Fort George Road, County Route 6 for the mill and fill, Betty Little Boulevard, as well as the pavement on Harrisburg Road. As far as local bridges go, we are probably about a week and a half away of opening up the Bay Road Bridge at Walkup. And I think I explained this to all others before, as you recall, that was an 8-foot culvert that was in place. And I will hand the photo around, but now you'll see the 40-foot bridge
Yeah.
based on permitting that we have in place now. The next project would be the Stony Creek Road over number 9 Brook. Temporary bridge to be open to traffic, Wednesday, November 23rd. Demolition of the existing structure will begin Monday, December 5th, with construction to go throughout the winter, maybe into early spring, and a completion and opening sometime in the very early part of March. The last one I have is the Sagamore Road retaining wall. Construction contract has been awarded. We're waiting on completions of right-of-way acquisitions. And we're having, I guess I want to bring this up in the committee, I don't necessarily want to say disagreements, but we're having a difference of, there was appraisals that were done for the right-of-way acquisition that we were proposing. We always use that third-party firm. I think the appraisals came out with and the offer was made for $29,000 to be paid to the property owner. The property owner has come back originally and wanted $432,000. This was based on some loss of business, but we had a discussion with the county attorney, and this would be a different claim for them to put in for. But based on where the wall is going to be placed, the new wall, they will lose some dock space, and I believe they were trying to get me something today before committee to come back in front of committee with, but they haven't. But I said, as soon as they have it, I would bring that back through the committee and that we can discuss here. So they're looking for extra compensation, above and beyond the $29,000 that we have offered them through a fair market value.
Occupancy tax.
Yeah, right. I don't see any referrals or pending items.
No.
Privilege of the floor. Any comments? Don't see any, motion to adjourn.
You're back on track.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Stroud, all in favor?
Aye.